Hello and welcome to Gierok Farms.
We're here down at a cousin of mine, and he has second cousin, of course. He's a bit older than us, but he lives in the same area in the same valley, and he's got a tree that got struck by lightning. He asked me if I'd help him remove from his yard, and then we thought we'd talk a little about the history of the Gieroks and how that connects to Gierok Farms, and then we'll talk about the lightning and the tree. But it's a little windy today, so we're trying to get out of the wind here, so we're on the back side of a building here. But anyway, this is Peter Gierok.
Yeah, my grandparents, Peter and Rose Gierok, purchased this farm in 1914, so it's a century farm, and George made a sign out front saying
we'll take a picture of that later to put a clip in.
With his chainsaw, he not only cuts down trees, but he does a lot of carving too. Yeah. So anyway, that was back in 1914. My grandparents purchased the farm, and we've had it ever since. About 2 months ago, we had a very big storm over here, a lot of lightning and thunder, and my wife and I were watching TV, and all of a sudden, one thunder was a lot louder than the rest, and I said to my wife, that one must have been right outside our window. Yeah. And the next morning we got up, walked outside, and I was right. It hit the tree right by the house.
They always strike something, but you don't know what. And sometimes you may not even notice where they struck.
And I'm grateful to my parents that they planted that tree because, as you know, lightning strikes the tallest object in the neighborhood, and otherwise they would have hit my house instead of the tree. And it could cause a lot of damage, and in the words of my granddaughter, it could have been a disastrophe. She combined two words.
Yeah, so it is a white pine, and he's got a lot of white pine. And your dad, or who planted all the trees?
My parents planted these. Yeah.
And there used to be an older house here, and I don't know, 25 years ago you had a newer home.
30 years, 1994.
So anyway, we're gonna go by the tree now, and we'll discuss that. I don't know a lot about what lightning does to a tree, but Peter here, he's done a little research, got a little more experience with it.
Yeah, by the way, I did have a tree that was hit by lightning about 30 years ago, and so that's why I'm a little worried about this tree, because the next morning we got up in that incident, there were a bunch of wooden sticks all over the yard, not much bigger than my thumb, and looked like kind of like clothespins if you're used to doing laundry the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
And we didn't think much of that, because the tree was still standing, and then about 2 weeks later we had a significant breeze, and the tree tipped over, and it broke off about 10 feet up. Where the lightning had ended up.
Do you know what species that was?
That was a white pine also.
It was also white pine.
Big old white pine, yeah.
So that's the thing. When we cut it open, and I think we may end up, I don't know, Mason wants to maybe do some bears, or we might saw part of it. We'll see. We'll give you a report on what we find if we don't see anything today inside there.
Yeah.
But
we saw what happened we will see what's happened on the outside when you take a film of it, and it will be interesting to see what happened to the inside, if anything.
So let's go check it out. So this tree, according to Peter, was in perfect condition here before this storm, which was a couple months ago now. But he said a lot of pieces of bark and everything. And I noticed even the top, it's looking pretty hairy up there. Which you say it was in good shape before.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with it. No.
Yeah. But the best part is it is leaning away from his house. We got a little bit of a power wire, but I think we're going to be okay here. It's definitely something a little different. I've seen we had a white oak standing on the hill by itself. And the worst thing to a cattle farmer is it starts to storm and the cattle nearby want to go under the tree. And then of course that tree is, like you said, the highest point sticking out there. I know that one we had probably got struck hundreds of times, but I don't know, different species maybe handle it a little differently. So anyway, eventually that tree died, and I think it was just too much lightning through too many years of that. So anyway, that's gone now, and it's almost better to have a grove of trees when it comes to cattle, not that one, so anyway.
Careful my wife's flowers, but I guess not.
Always have to be careful for the white flowers.
Looks like some nice wood there.
Yeah, it didn't
No
look like,
damage.
as far as lightning, I don't think it done anything down here.
No,
But again, like I said, it's just
wet too.
Yeah, and then it'll get sticky. This stuff especially, well, maybe not so much now because we're like fall now, so that the sap is going in. You know, in the spring, your hands and everything from handling all that. That's why Peter here is going to clean it all up. I'm just going to make the mess. but we're going to try to do something with the log. You know, even though it ain't a premium log, it'll make some different stuff. Some carvings for donating somewhere. You know. Well, yeah, I don't think it was too far from that line. I didn't see it move.
Lucky they cut some off.
But I'll get this all cut off and down. That branch there might even have something in there. We'll see what we find up higher once we cut it up.
I don't know if we said on the video, but I had the electric company cut the top of the tree off. So we hopefully
Just,
we won't hit the high lines over there.
Right.
And it still came pretty close.
Probably a good thing because that's the thing. I don't worry about the flower garden. His wife is gone right now, so he's going to take the heat for that. Hopefully, maybe I'm gone by then. But anyway, that'll all be okay. It'll come back. It's just you gotta kind of look at the big picture with these things.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep going. A piece of the top that broke off then, and then what happens is one of the branches tried to take, because you can see he's as tall as the rest.
Yeah.
He was taking a place of the top, and that's how white pine is. White pine, it's somehow if you broke off. I never seen them broke off at the stump unless it's some tornado stuff. But they'll usually pieces of the top will break off even from like wet snow because of those needles hold it all. Anyway, that's why I think you got this, but yeah, that'll give us some character for something.
Yeah, there were two branches that took over on top, but this one tried to compete with them the way it looked.
Right,
so.
and I think that the tree was damaged for a while, and this guy ended up being the dominant branch until.
Yeah.
So that's typical of white pine, and then we did trim your other ones a little bit. To me, this is more of a carving tree, and I think our butt's going to be good. But once we cut it through, we'll see if we got anything in there. So far, I don't know. I didn't see anything unique here. This all looks pretty good. So white pine was handle lightning better than some, you know.
The wind was picking up just when you started cutting over here. I get a little worried.
Yeah, you know, like I said, you can drag some of this off the floor. Like here, we'll get that off of there, because that's not going to hurt nothing.
Yeah, you want to keep your wife happy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just what you do, you know.
We'll both have plenty of fire out here, I think.
Because in order to prevent, so if you were where you don't want it dropped on nothing, they'll take it down, but they'll take it down a block at a time, and then they'll say, well, for another $2,000, you know, and there you go. So yeah, you don't want your house smashed. That's understandable. Something leaning over the house, you have to get some kind of outfit that can prevent that. But here, I would just say, okay, you can always kind of go back and fix all this stuff. So, okay, we're getting a little more trim in here.
My wife says that in school, you know, she was his teacher. He never said a word. They could hardly get anything out of him.
Wow.
And now finally, all of a sudden, it all has come bursting out.
Well, see, his wife was my English teacher, and I never figured I could talk good enough to. And you know, she would correct my papers, and that red ink pen would run out of ink. Going through all the stuff I didn't get right, but now maybe on my bucket list is to correct the teacher's paper for a change.
Yeah.
we did preschool here in our little school here, and his wife's been retired now for a while, but we took in, what, 16 species? You know, oak, popple, birch, and all the different stuff. We had them all, little pieces of each tree all laid out on a table, and then we had all numbered. And then on a piece of paper, we had all the species on the paper, and you had to match the number with on the paper. So everybody in the class got it. And I think this is the 3rd grade class, and we did them for a couple other classes too. But then I said I want the teacher to do it too. And then she didn't really think too much of it. She went through, everybody went through it, and then I said, now I need a red ink pen. And she got a little worried, and then I want yours. I want to correct yours as they go. The kids can kind of, and actually I gotta say she did pretty good. I mean, for the average soul, I think she got it. I would have maybe gave her a C+. So anyway,
Passing grade.
That's a story, so there you go. Gotta have your grandkids count these.
Yeah.
You don't.
And that's strange. Look at that.
Yeah, and that's,
previous branches.
Yeah.
Early branches.
Yeah.
So they were planted in 1949. So.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, well, there you go.
So,
So now you see it. Now
60s.
we can see if your memory's right now.
yeah.
But you're,
So this is uprooted from the same storm.
So we got this bridging in here, and I must have had these about 25 years ago, but this is what keeps it from bending. And this is some bridge beam we got on an auction maybe 25 years ago, and I think my brother helped me kind of come up with this design so we're able to load something like this on this stump. They're heavy.